advantage of, and I'm here to talk about curation for the third day in a row. I guess none of you was here in one of the earlier days. Were you here before? You were here. Oh, good to see you again. And you were here also. Okay, so that's pretty good because we have a few things some of you may have seen, but most of it is brand new. Let me tell you in just a second what I'm here for. We're very submerged somehow by information these days, and I am kind of the evangelist of the fact that all of this information we have available is really a great opportunity. It is not just a chore, but is also a way to find how journalism can, could, should be maybe in the future. For traditional purists, this may be quite radical and even offensive by the way I show what that journalism may be in the future. But if you're open enough, open-minded, and interested in looking how things could turn in the future, you may see some interesting things, as I will spend most of my time giving you the reasons why things are changing, because we have them under our nose, but we don't notice them, and what they're going to look like when curation takes place of just creating new information. So if you're ready, let's dive. Okay, let me ask you a question to start. What do you think is the activity we do the most online after checking email? Does anyone know or can guess? That is absolutely right. What is your name again?
Bailey.
Bailey. Perfecto. That is the data from 2015 from a very interesting resource. You may want to take note of it. It's called Consumer Barometer by Google. And it's a free resource that provides lots of global and national country-specific information on the use of all online media, from desktop to tablets to smartphones. You find a lot of interesting data. You could build a lot of interesting content as well with it. And you can see that after the orange bar, 54%, the thing we do the most is actually to search. We're always looking where to find the stuff we're interested in. So let me show you 12 critical factors that are working right now and that are tacitly changing the ecosystem in which we navigate. Remember, we're in the information age. Although we still think in terms of the industrial age and mass media, things have radically changed. And we are not submerged, like I said at the beginning, with information. We always hear about information overload, but when I open my laptop, I don't really get this wave, this huge amount of information. It's quiet, it's there, waiting for me. The problem is how many resources, how many sources, how many different people, how many emails I could possibly go and look at. And nobody has the time to look at all the things we would like to see. So the issue is really not so much this information overload, because that's kind of a metaphor that does not exist in reality. You don't ever find yourself and say, oh, I have, yeah, sometimes we open way too many tabs, and that could be a case, but in general, is the issue of having way too much information. I use this picture, which is actually from an Italian supermarket, because when I go to buy the shampoos, I do have a big issue. I don't know where to start and sort them. And each one of us probably would have a different way to look at them. Somebody from the packaging, somebody from what they do, but how long a time would it take for you to sort them out and find the one you really need? Lots of time. We also have less and less and less time available, and this is a little bit due to our passive attitude derived from traditional media consumption and we let the internet drive us crazy and waste a lot of time during the day by jumping from a link to a link, from a Gmail to a Facebook and to another thing, and by the time you realize you're just wasting time, you've wasted a lot of time. It's always a bit too late. So the time available is getting shorter and shorter. And guess what? Each one of us, most of us are publishing. Maybe not really publishing in the sense that Jeff Jarvis would say, but we're really sharing a lot of information. Day and night, we're Instagramming, we're putting things on Facebook, and guess what? All the stuff gets to be found many times in Google, and so we're just, in many situations, adding a little more noise. Why? I'm sharing stuff that is interesting. That's a neat picture of you, Robin speaking. Why would you say that that is noise? Because when we do not add any value to that, anything that helps people get beyond where they are right now, we're just doing something narcissistic for our own pleasure and the one of our friends. So the issue for journalists and for people who deal with information should be the one of providing a service and not to be talking to an audience pretending to know what they want. And that's why we get all of this noise. Whether you feel it or not, I feel it a lot, and it's very distracting. And I know, and you know who I get pissed off at the most? A category of people that many times is associated with me, but I'd like to have nothing to do with them. And these are content marketers. People who preach that if we have a blog, if we have a community to manage on social media, we should be putting out content second in, second out, as much as we can. The more we do it, the better, because you need to nurture the community, you need to be conversating with them. We're actually just bombarding them with a lot of information that is, in my opinion, unfiltered many times, unverified, unchecked, and it's very shallow. It's really about ourselves and how we waste our time day in, day out. Not only is shallow in the sense that it's very personal, but it's also designed to be consumed very fast. Just like when we want some food, we're very hungry, but we don't want to spend the time to go into a nice restaurant, sit down, get the primo, the secondo, and the frutta, and all that. We want something fast. And we see there are a lot of services that save us time now to consume much less information, much less time to get the information we supposedly need to know. How many of you know that from January 2015, a major historical milestone in the history of news and information has been passed? And that is the first time in history that we, the people of the world, have decided that we trust more Google than any of the traditional media. From January 2015, this has become a reality. So whether you like Google or not, I don't know, but we certainly trust Google more because apparently it gives us more viewpoints. It gives us apparently the option of choosing. Now, I don't know if this is like the mystery of Trinity and Jesus and God and the Spirit, sanctified Spirit, but it's kind of strange what we see there, and as I go on, you may see what I see myself. In fact, my next stop is in the Google limits. I mean, we trust so much Google, but at the same time, if we stop only for a second to ask ourselves any of the few basic questions that any human being should ask himself or herself is, but how can I trust somebody or something that is not a specialist about anything? The thing Google is most specialist about is writing secret algorithms, isn't it? Can you check? Can you change some of the switches? Can you tell Google is really put something in the first place that doesn't belong there? And Google not only believes that it's doing your best interest by doing that, but is also personalizing the results according to what you have chosen or selected in the future. How presumptuous I find that. I may be a journalist looking for the opposite view of what I really believe, and so you're going to be serving me maybe opposite views for the rest of my life because sometimes I check this or that. I would like to see a Google that also would be more transparent to us in how things are valued and ranked. I would like, since I know that Google is not a humanitarian mission, for Google to let everyone remember that Wall Street drives what Google does, not our own interest, our own needs for information. Recently, Google and a number of articles came out saying that Google is going to establish also what is the truth. Just like God, they're going to establish what facts are real and what are not. And so there's going to be one version of any issue that we have debated. Whether you think it's right or not, Google will establish it for us. I don't know. But I think we should be skeptical, especially for people like you who are going to be searching on Google lots of times. And you're going to take for granted, unless Papa comes and says, hey, be careful what Google says. You should ask your own question. Ask also other search engines. And better yet, if you can ask some people you trust, you're going to be much better off in your life than just trusting a secret algorithm. I know you didn't get any of this, but Papa will tell you what I said. Okay? So after Google, there's really people like you and me that are working. In fact, if you expand a chart that comes from Edelman and their report, again, from the beginning of this year, you can see that below search engines and traditional media, there are some of the media where we participate, where we ourselves as small and independents put our own opinion, news, and facts. More than that, if we look at this other chart that shows groups of people we've come to read or attend or listen to, and how we perceive them from the point of view of trust, we can see that there is a definite trend going on. Look, under this trusted, we have our familiar group: company CEO, famous people online, elected officials, celebrities, brands I don't use. We don't trust any of these guys. Neutral, journalist, that's where they are, neutral. Could be good, could be bad. Employees of a company. And look who's in the trusted category. My friends and family, an academic expert, and the companies I use. So the trend I see is that we're moving away from all of those who are supposed to know to all of those that we know, and we know we can trust because they're passionate or seriously interested in whatever matter they're sharing with us. So we're looking a little bit more for serious, primo, secondo, terzo, frutta, dessert, rather than just only for the fast food information. We do need some of the fast food information, but we also do need the other. And the other is the little guy, the small, the rare stuff. We need more of that. And people are asking wherever, in Italy, in the United States, abroad, especially in the English-speaking countries where going to the university costs such a large amount of money. Now they've gone beyond $1 trillion in loans, these poor students in the United States. I don't know if we need to be worried about them, but they're searching outside the traditional route for their own future. Also because those pieces of paper, unless you need to become a doctor or an engineer, are not so valuable anymore to get where you want to go. They're just going to allow you to waste a number of years before you start running seriously. And finally, the 12th element that I think is at play in changing things and making curation so relevant is the availability of tools to organize information. If you had been here in the first day I spoke here, you would have seen how many tools there are out there right now that help you organize information. There are over, in my collection, over 700. 700 tools that in one way or another can help you organize information and make sense of it for you and for others. So these are the 12 points we just saw. These are the 12 critical factors I personally see that are changing the information ecosystem we live in and that are going to impact the way we look, search, find information in the near future. So let's look at 10 emerging trends and examples of what all of those 12 things are going to make happen. Number one, first thing I want in that type of situation is for me to have more time. That's why I chose that picture, because in the end we want to have more time to be with our own selves, to enjoy, to relax, to not just be all the time pressured by work. So let me take a real-world example. I was just saying that in the United States, there are now people looking for alternatives, that is, for courses that are outside the control of big, top Ivy League university that cost so many $1,000s. And there are now so many open courses, open educational access resources, that people actually have the opposite problem. They now have a hard time finding what is the best free course or series of free course or learning path they could take to learn what they want to learn. My Slide Rule, this site, does service exactly these people by selecting and organizing for them all of the best free courses that are available. Their business model is to provide only for those who want it some mentoring, some coaching, so that you can be helped in making your study very fruitful. Example number two, let's say you are a startup and you want your company to be rapidly known. Wouldn't you want to know where are all the journalists that talk about startups? Well, there is a tool called Press Farm that gives you all the contacts of journalists in the United States that work for publications that deal with startup, and it's all free. If you give them $9, they will also give you the emails of each individual journalist that talks about startups. So what did they do? They just went out, collected and organized information that was already available out there. But how much time would have taken it for you to find 300 journalists' proper emails spread all over the place? A lot. So $9 pays for it. Trend number two, keep me updated. Oh, this is something we always wanted, we keep wanting, and we want to do it always in less time. So if you don't know about Tech Meme, this time I'm going to bring up a sister site from Gabe Rivera in the Silicon Valley, and this is Media Gazer. Let's say you work in the media. There is an online newspaper that in one page brings you all of the top news about media and what is happening in the United States. The unique thing is that this is just one page, and every bloody relevant information or news story that comes out not only gets covered, but we also see who's covering: the BBC, Sky News, and again the BBC and the Belfast Telegraph, and I can click and see their own version of that story. So they're going to save me a lot of time. One, because I see all the top stories. Two, because I can go and dig deep inside to see different points of view. How do they make money? By using a right column where you can pay $10,000 or more to have a sponsored post. One-page website. So successful that they have built a series of them. The most popular, again, is techmeme.com. If you haven't heard about it and you're Italian, you should really take note. Good morning, Italia. How many of you are already using this? All right, there are the pioneers here in the second row. Give a round of applause to them. Okay, what is it, Robin? Good morning, Italia. This is a group of guys who wake up 3-4 hours before you do. Even if you wake up early, they wake much earlier than you. They go down to their corner newsstand. They get all the newspapers. They read them all. They are so into it that they extract, synthesize, and put out only the best in an email newsletter that they send to you at 7 o'clock. You can go through it in 5 minutes. Go down to your own bar and have a full conversation with the barman and the other people coming, just like you know everything that is happening that fucking day with no problem. 5-minute email newsletter called Good Morning Italia. So we're also waking up to do some of these things that help organize, collect, synthesize, and simplify information that is already out there. It costs only $1 9.9 euros per month or 18 euros for a year. You can try it out for free for 30 days. Blendle, you haven't heard about this one, I know. But what they do is written right there. One website, all newspapers and magazine in one place. So they're starting to do this in the Netherlands, where they have already an operating version, and they're coming out with international version where they're gonna bring together access to all the top newspapers in one place. Launchblendle.com, that's where you can find them. Trend number 3, help me separate wheat from chaff. This can be applied to many different sectors. As a matter of fact, I'm taking as an example people interested in movies and documentaries. There is this new site, this is a part of a group of 3, 4, 5 sites that came out just in the last 2 months. That's called John Locker. What do? They have discovered that there are over 5,000 free documentaries available online that you can watch even for free. And they have organized all of those into neat categories with a search engine and with a community of people that exchange opinions about what are the best ones. So what do is they organize information and resources that are already available out there and make it easier for people to find what they want. I'm into music myself. I used to be a DJ when I was a young guy, and I'm still into music. My favorite type, one of my favorite type of styles, as I like to listen to many different ones, though, is deep house. Incredible. And I have a DJ who's my reference point, and who separates wheat from chaff from me, for me. How does he do it? Well, he puts out a podcast on doglounge.com, which you can access from your iTunes. You just go inside iTunes, podcasts, and you search for Dog Lounge. You find a free podcast, and every week you get a show of 1 or 2 hours without ads, without any announcing, nothing at all, of pure deep house music mixed for you. I mean, I couldn't ask for more. It's totally free, and I also get a text playlist of all the artists that are in there, if I ever have the bad idea, from my point of view, of still going out and finding out who it is to buy a piece of plastic that guy did. I'm not into that anymore. Some people are, and they can find that information. So he helps me both separate and find out and discover artists that I like without me knowing anything about them before. I also am very much into information design, and I've been following for many years this guy from the Netherlands, whose name is Peter Bogaerts. He puts out an email newsletter that is worth every single millimeter of space he uses. And he brings all of the top content and articles that come out from anywhere on the topic of information design, so that you don't have to decide what is appropriate to read or not. You use him as the go-to reference point to understand better what you should be listening to. Trend number 4, help me discover. How many of you are using Product Hunt? Fantastic. So you shouldn't go to sleep tonight without having tried this Product Hunt. You may be disappointed, but I think you should really go and see this new service, which does nothing else but propose every single day new tools, any kind of tools. And people have just gone crazy. If you look at the traffic on Alexa for this site, you see they have, in the arc of less than a year, become one of the top 2,000-3,000 sites in the United States, and one of the top 5,000 maybe in the world. So people are looking to discover. This is not focused on anything. It's focused only on new tools. It's all about discovery. There is a community behind it. You can get to talk to the CEOs of all these new startups. It's quite interesting. I have built myself something similar that's called T5, has no pretense, doesn't cost anything, and is equivalent to Product Hunt, but it's only for people who work in communication. Journalists, content marketers, online publishers, researchers, people who teach. They can find useful tools selected and tested by me personally. I put my face on it. And it's available right now completely for free at tools.robingood.com. People write to me, people submit there. I could open a discussion with them. I don't think is ready enough. But again, this is all about discovery, but with more focus. You like videos? Probably you haven't heard about Frequency. Frequency is a site that allows you to turn basically any website, whether they do video or not, into a television channel. And so to consume what you're interested in an alternative way. I think it's quite unique and alternative in the approach it uses. I advise you to go and explore it. Music again. There are a number of these, and I love all of them because they really allow you to discover things you would have never listened to. You may like to take note of Musicovery, where if you hover your mouse inside that crazy universe of dots, you will discover different songs and artists, but you can select on the right side whether you want things that are more popular, and those are hits, or you want things that are more unknown, discovery. You can also go through the years, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and you can choose and highlight the type of music styles you want to hear so that you can discover music according to your preferences. Musicovery.com. I also listen to these other guys, and whoever is into electronic music, I think should pay a note on your notebook for this very simple URL, DIFM, digitally imported. They have like about 100 different channels with no ads that you can listen to for free, very niche-oriented channels. So they go from drum and bass to soulful, to deep house, and all those electronic type of genre of music that are flourishing right now. So all these tools are really there to discover stuff you don't know about. Trend number 5, help me find. What about if I don't like Google? Who's gonna help me? There is a great tool called Ziff, and this is one of the many directories I've built on it that, while being completely free, allows you to create a directory of resources where you can add not only the tools or the resources or the sites you want to list and group them into blocks, but you can also sort them. People can vote, comment, and suggest them. This is one of the most recent one, and it's all about social media monitoring tools, but you can do it about just any topic you like. The tool is called Ziff.com, out of the Netherlands, and it's completely free. There is no premium version. I guess you would enjoy also sometimes finding the proper app, especially if you work in a large company or a school or training institutions. People are having a lot of trouble finding what are the right tools. Maybe there is a guy who knows perfectly what could be the perfect tool, but many other professors don't know, and they just walk in the dark when it comes to selecting the next most appropriate tool to do that. And there are some of these new services, this is one called GetApp, that allows you to find through the reviews of both experts and normal users what are the best tools in the category you're interested in. You're interested in movies. Take note of this Omive, I don't know how people would pronounce it, but the name is quite easy to take note of. It is very simple because this is the whole interface and the whole website. You go and select whatever criteria you want to use, and it will bring you the full spectrum of the IMDb database, that is the World Film Original Archive or whatever is being published in the movie theaters, so that you can easily find anything you want for free. Trend number 5, help me compare things. Since there is so much information that I don't know about and I don't have a trusted guy, who do I go to? Nice tool to take note of out of France is Social Compare. This is a free tool that allows you actually, as a user, to bring in any type of tools. These are, for example, tablets, e-book readers, and to bring there all the information you have so that people can compare it thanks to you. So we're moving away from authority only giving us the information and comparison tools and being ourselves the one who do this type of job. Compare smartphones. This is out of Spec Out and is another service that helps you do this across all kinds of consumer product categories. And this is the one that I actually saw before. I don't know why they got mixed, where it was. I saw it. But well, it's called Product Chart, and it's very visual and interactive. On the left side, you control the type of thing you want. You see on top the categories: smartphone, tablets, laptops, 3D printers. For each one, you have controls here on the left side that allow you, again, to do many of the trends you've seen: separating wheat from chaff, choosing the thing you want, finding the proper tablet or computer. We're always talking about the same thing. Productchart.com. Trend number 6, help me select and choose. For people in training, in university or school, to me, this is something that you need to pass on to your colleagues, as I haven't seen anything as good as this. It's called Graphite. Would that be the correct pronunciation, my friend? Yeah? Graphite.org, which curates and selects for you all of the best tools depending on what you need to teach or learn. And this is all curated by actual professors, teachers, and their students. And it's also mapped to the Common Core Standards, which is a reference for people who want to study according to a set of standards that have been defined as high-quality ones. So this helps trainers find the best tools to teach other people, curated by them, reviewed by them. A competitor, if you would want to call it, is somebody who I've helped, not close his company. This guy is called Mike Lee, and he has this service, this free service, fantastic, really. I couldn't recommend it more. That's called EdShelf. Same purpose as Graphite, but more directed at the software application and apps for smartphones, apps for tablets, that not just teachers, but also parents can use with their kids to help them learn instead of just play and firing at flying airplanes. They can fire things that help them learn something useful. It's called EdShelf, and I say I saved this guy from closing the company because he wasn't making any money at all by doing this fantastic service. And I said, and he wrote an email saying, I'm going to be closing. I told this guy, don't close. Crowdfund yourself, because there are, I'm sure, many people like me who truly appreciate what you do. He tried, and he got $40,000 or $50,000, and he's back and kicking every single week with his newsletter. I love it. Balefire Labs is the third guy in the same category. So if you're a university teacher or so, or working in school, or a parent that is worried about choosing the best tools to educate your children, I think you should look also at these guys. They all do that same stuff. Best Companies has the approach of reviewing and presenting way for you to filter the best products, but from a consumer standpoint. Again, using users and using experts at the same time. Trend number 7, help me understand. Snowfall. This, for journalists, should be something very familiar. How many of you know about what this is? Oh, that's good, so I can tell you. Bravo. Snowfall has been a unique feature that was published in 2012 on the New York Times. It has been a unique article because, differently from normal articles, this is very long. It starts here, and you have to go 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 floors down to scroll to the end of it. And it includes all kinds of video, animations, multimedia, interactive maps, citations, interview with people. So it's like a television documentary inside an article that is very rich visually and very rich in content. Very well researched with lots of links and references. Because this is all about a little story about an avalanche, a tunnel creek, a real story. But the way they have developed it is fantastic. You really, more than anything else that I've shown you today, go see that if you're a journalist, because it's enlightening. It opens up a whole new way of presenting information in a deep way. This has been so influential for journalists that I have collected for you a resource that is quite unique. And here it is a Google Doc that since that day in 2012 has been collecting all the new articles that have come out, even before the one of the New York Times, to show you how this trend is developing. So these no-fallen stories, which you can Google that, and you can find this Google Doc is open, it's not just mine. It contains 250 references to examples of snowfall type stories. That's very inspirational, very useful for anybody who wants to do new type of journalism. So go check this out. You will find it here. I created a bit.ly URL to make it easier because those Google Docs URLs are very long and difficult. So you can get it there. Let's credit Bobby Johnson, a Medium Matter, for having created this useful reference. TED videos. I guess some of you know about TED. I was having good news about TED this morning, but maybe I should be shy and not say anything. But you know, there are TED events happening in Italy as well. They're part of the group TEDx events. And we're going to have one in November, not very far away. We could almost walk. In train is just 20 minutes or so. In Assisi, there will be an interesting one coming up this November 5. I say this, it doesn't have anything to do with that, because I have the organizer in front of me. And so I'd like to thank him, because he's been considering to have me among those big guys that will be speaking there. So if you happen to be in Italy in November, I'll probably be in Perugia, in Assisi. And TED has created not just all the series of events. I was amazed at the amount of events coming up on the calendar. I'd never gone there. It's actually not easy to find that section. You should tell the TED guys. But once you find it, it's amazing. I had to go to page 28 to find his event. There are so many between now and November that these guys are doing a fantastic job. Anyhow, TED videos is a fantastic resource, again, for education, because TED does great shows, but it also enables for a number of educational videos to be surfaced that otherwise we probably wouldn't know about. And not only they do that, they help you use these videos for your own purposes so that you can create classes and compilations of these videos that can help other people learn about things that are not easy to understand. So that's part of TED. Finally, since I talk a lot about curation, let me mention this resource. Let me bring up the URL so you can take note. I'll bring back the picture in a second, where I've collected over the last 3 or 4 years all the useful infographics, charts, and diagrams that explain content curation. I haven't done any of that stuff. I've only taken care, whenever I found one that I thought interesting, to put it away, so that now there are over 100 of visuals that explain to people who know nothing what content curation is. So you find it on Pinterest. There is a board dedicated to that. Getting near the end, we definitely want to learn more, and what tools or services do I want to highlight? This is one of my favorites. It just came out in the last 30 days, so you don't know about it. Probably it's called ClassMill, and allows you to create an online course for free by selecting, picking, and choosing the very best content, video, images, resources, links, files that are already available out there. Yes, you understood it right. You're going to teach a course, but you can, if you want, utilize altogether materials that is not yours at all. If you're worried about, but copyright, I'm copying stuff from others, well, that doesn't prevent you from crediting whoever deserves to be credited, and you're not charging anyone for it. But I see from other tools that that issue is going to come up soon. That is, there are going to be courses in which there is actually free materials that is going to be sold for money. How that is going to be solved as a matter of contracting between people and who gets what, I don't know. I may be happy that somebody sells what I said in this session inside a video course, and I may not want anything because I get a lot of exposure anyhow. But that's definitely a trend, and this tool is called classmail.com, completely free. You want to learn something, you should take note of Rack Up Skills. That is a directory of all the places outside universities and academic places where you can learn basically a new job, something that you can sell to others. rackupskills.com. Help me find the best. Trend number 9. Again, tools that now are probably coming out of your ears. We see them everywhere. Price comparison, product comparison. This is all about the best vendors out there. But let me mention a couple of very small guys. I'm a publisher online, so I use WordPress. Probably some of you do as well. There is a directory of all the best WordPress plugins, because if you go and search for them, it's not easy really to navigate through that on the WordPress website. So somebody has taken the time, the effort, the resources to build that directory so that you do not waste all the time required to find whatever plugin you're interested in using. So you see everybody is working on top of everybody else in organizing whatever the guy below hasn't done properly. And just in the same direction, there is even best free WordPress plugin who just works to show you only the ones that are free among the thousands of WordPress plugins that you could get. Last but not least, my trend number 10 is help me find ideas and inspiration. Ted is again top of the list. Very inspiring for me, very inspiring for many. Lots of interesting videos across many different topics. I didn't add it just before coming. elearningexamples.com. This is for people like data viz, data visualization. You're looking for ideas of how other journalists, data journalists, have created infographics, interactive graphics, timelines. Here there is a full collection with a lot of value added in the sense that the author explains and highlights whatever is interesting for each one of the works that has been collected here. elearningexamples.com. And finally, for designers, I haven't talked to them much today, there is Designer's Watch. This is quite interesting because not only it selects and picks the most interesting documentaries, videos, and movies for anyone who's interested in design, but you see they've built in right away an easy business model by allowing you to buy, to rent, or watch by paying through Netflix, PBS, iTunes, Amazon, Hulu, these distributors, whatever you're interested in. So they organize, make it simple for you to find stuff, if you are a designer, that you would want to see, and they give you direct links to where you're going to get it, whether they're free or paid, and they get a commission for that. Designers.watch. Yeah, that's in place of the .com you normally see. So no matter what you do, sooner or later, you will need to find, choose, or select something specific you badly need. And my bet is that as time goes by, you will increasingly rely on people, small or large organizations made of people, who you will see as trusted guides in that field, who take a stand, who are transparent, who tell you which criteria they use to select whatever they've chosen for you. I think curation is the future. You can download this information at this URL instantly and get all of the slides and the references you've seen. Thank you very much for your time and patience. I'm available for all your questions, and I will be outside in this terrace if you want to talk to me or do anything. Thanks again. Somebody has questions, things you want to ask right now? Sure, go ahead.
Mention Coursera.
Coursera.
Yeah, in your, tool for learning. Why?
Because I thought I was really going beyond the time, and because there are actually 700 things that I could mention today. So thank you for mentioning Coursera. It's definitely part of the things that should be mentioned in my session. So it's just because, again, time is little and there is a lot of information. I selected just some so that you could see Coursera got to be quite popular among those who study a little bit, but I'm sure most of these things you had not heard probably before. Anybody else? All right, that means you're happy, I guess. So go enjoy the sunshine because I'm going to bring it back. Thank you again.